Hey guys, welcome back to another UFC breakdown. Tonight we're going to look at a championship fight between Amanda Nunes defending her title against Julianna Pena. It was an amazing fight, a lot of good jiu-jitsu on both sides that we'll be able to break down today. First and foremost, the round opens up with Amanda Nunes completely controlling the fight from the center of the octagon all the way to the cage, just really dominating with her jab, which puts Pena down twice. At this point, this is when the jiu-jitsu transitions start. I'll start by saying Julianna did a great job with her fundamentals. She's using her active guard to up kick, to keep and create distance. She never has an opportunity to do the technical stand-up. So at this point, Nunes attempts to pass the guard, does a really good job, and then this is where you see Pena go underneath for the single leg, come up, and drive to the cage. Nunes, however, is also black belt in jiu-jitsu, very wisely applies what it call like a wrestler whizzer, and then starts controlling the upper body, brings the leg to the outside, and then does a nice judo throw, putting Pena on her back. From here, I'll switch places with Fernie. Fernie's a pro belt in jiu-jitsu, knows these positions very well. Of course, as she throws her, she lands in a half guard position. Let's talk about this real quick. In the half guard position, she uses the bottom leg as a staple and really windshield wipes this way. She then starts working her leg weave where she controls the bottom leg and starts using the top leg and controlling it down. From here, Pena, for the most part, use a position you don't really see a lot in this transition, but sometimes it happens. She applies a Kimura. This actually opens up Amanda's transition to back. From here, she starts to get the other hook in, starts to choke with one hand, and actually is not choking, but is cranking. The problem with this position is she needs the other hand to finish the choke. Actually, she could finish with one arm, but it's really hard to get it underneath the chin, so that's why she's starting to crank. At the same time, Pena is trying to apply like a straight arm lock, which can be done if it's under the elbow and she pulls down, so she's doing a good job holding the glove. There have been instances where people tap here. However, Nunes is a high-level black belt, so it's really hard to tap a high-level black belt with this move. But what it is doing is it's creating some sort of position where she's not allowed to use both hands. This is a part where I think strategy is going to play a bigger role than the finish. I think that there are several things that could have been done here. One for which, if Nunes wanted to be more strategic and more conservative, she could have actually just held this position and just started throwing more punches and held, and she would have won the round pretty convincingly. I still think she won the first round with those knockdowns and with her control. But if she wanted to finish, she could, if she just stayed consistent with the crank, maybe punch a few times and finish. Or she could have actually used the same position by just placing this hand all the way on the other hand, opened up, and also start attacking the arm lock. And now from here, I can also get the arm bar from here. So there's different options she could have done. Instead, what happened was she kind of rolled to a position where she ended up in half guard. And so she rolls, and as she rolls, comes back on top, and now she was in a very dominant half guard position. From here, she was able to isolate what we call like a front headlock position. So I'll get on this side so y'all can see. She was able to control headlock position. She's able to really dominate here. And then you'll see Pena go for a Kimura. You see this position a lot in jiu-jitsu. You don't see it in high level though, because one thing, it's very tough to finish this Kimura if the person is sitting with their inner thigh this way. That's one. Number two, I could actually re-Kimura the person on bottom here. Okay? And number three, I could actually, if I clear my leg, I could actually step over and armbar them back. So this is a position you still see, especially if the person on bottom is bigger than the person on top. They get away with like really maximizing leverage and being strong, and they can finish that Kimura there. Or I can try to prevent it, and he can finish up on top here as well and finish that Kimura. So Pena was doing it because I believe, again, this is my opinion in the fight, it was able to stall out further beating it from the half guard. So as she connects, look, I cannot punch with this arm, and I can hold out in the rest of the round, and I can't really do much damage. I can punch with this one, but kidney shots are much preferred to knockout punches. And so I think this is why the strategy worked in both favors. I think this won the points for Amanda Nunes in the first round, and I think this helped Pena survive the first round, which was, again, a really good transition of jiu-jitsu going back and forth. But then we see the second round. And what happens in the second round, outside of jiu-jitsu, is Pena actually stood up to the jabs and crosses that Nunes was offering. Normally, Nunes throws this and backs up her opponent. This time, Pena was not backing up, was taking the damage, but was responding with her own consistent jabs and crosses. And I'm going to be honest, I really think that Nunes just gassed. I think she was going, if you look at the match in the second round, she's going for the overhand right several times. She's really trying to knock out Pena. She misses several times. She does connect it a few, but she misses, and even the few that she connects does damage, but Pena responds back with her own jab and her own cross. And so at this point, she's fatigued, and then Pena attacks with her own type of judo throw and goes all the way to the back transition. And the way that happens is she does a basic Tanotoshi. We talk about this in other breakdowns as well. Tanotoshi is a basic judo throw where they leverage the hip. However, when we teach Tanotoshi, we use our leg to take our opponent over our body. In this case, when she goes to the cage, she doesn't do that at all. Instead of using the leg like I just demonstrated, which I'll demonstrate right now, a basic Tanotoshi, I move and pivot and I throw my leg across. What she does instead is she actually bends both legs and lifts over her shoulder. So it looks like this. I'll go a little easy on Fernie, right? He steps through and then bumps without dropping the leg. From here, Nunes, again, turtles. When she turtles, it seems she gets one hook. We'll turn around this way so they can see. Gets one hook in, right? Starts immediately attacking the choke and throws this other leg over. Connects, gets the rear naked choke, which seems to be on the chin. Doesn't even seem like it's tight. And Nunes immediately taps. Now I'll go and say this. I think Nunes didn't get choked. I don't even think Nunes got cranked. I think she was seriously gassed. She looked fatigued. She looked tired. She looked surprised that her striking was not backing up Pena, which usually backs up all her fighters. And I think she got desperate and just wanted to get out of there. And I can tell you, when you're gassed and you're mounted, heck, you're not mounted, you're gassed and someone's in your close guard, it's not the best feeling in the world. You feel like suffocating. This is why in jiu-jitsu we stress so much of patience. We stress staying calm because this allows to lower your heart rate. It allows you to breathe through your nose, to control your breathing. It allows you to stay calm. And doing all those things actually helps you psychologically and emotionally throughout the fight or the match or the grappling round, right? So when you do these things, it teaches you to stay calm. Everything's okay. Again, I'm not here to say what she could have done differently, right? Because she is an amazing, amazing fighter, has so many title runs and is a legend in the sport. But this by far was probably the hugest upset of the year, probably one of the biggest upsets of the decade. I can't think of anything more surprising than this fight because nobody thought she was going to win. Nobody. And it comes down to a lot of things. But what we're going to talk about, or what we talked about today, is really the jiu-jitsu. The things that could have been differently on both parts. Maybe if Nunes would stay more calm and not go for the knockout punches, she wouldn't have gassed. She definitely would have responded better. Anytime someone is attacking from the turtle position this way, first thing you do is protect your choke and protect your face from getting punched. Now, if there's one hook in, same thing we've talked about in other breakdowns, I'm going to control and I'm going to roll to a droppy ponce onagi, stay on top of my knee and my toe, and I'm going to keep pulling this up so I don't get punched. And now I can work my way on top and stay here. Worst case scenario, if I feel like I'm not confident with that transition, the next thing I could do, if I feel this is going here, and remember, Pena never got the other hook, so if I feel she's not getting the other hook, I could actually retreat, come back, and start working my half guard to close guard, and start working on positions from here. Okay, and now I feel more safe. Now I can up kick Now I could come back, control my breathing, try to relax and stay calm. She didn't go for any transitions, and this is why, and she's such a high-level fighter, a high-level jiu-jitsu player, this is why I'm convinced she was exhausted. She was tired. When you're tired, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to react. You actually just want to get out of there. You just want to stop. This has happened before. People have a misconception. High-level jiu-jitsu competitor athletes, whoever, fighters, they also can, you know, if they're not careful with their gas tank and how they position themselves, they can definitely suffer from what I call like grappler's anxiety. Is basically when someone is on top of you and you're exhausted and you just want them off. I clearly think this is what happened. I don't think it was Nunes' jiu-jitsu, to be honest. This does not discredit Pena. I think she did an amazing job coming back in the fight and winning the title. But I think Nunes just kind of fell for the similar fundamentals that, you know, jiu-jitsu is known for, which is staying calm, being able to relax, being able to stay composed, and not only on the ground, but also as a striker, and being able to recompose her guard and stay calm. She definitely could have still fought in that turtle position. So looking at this match, there's a lot of things that happen, like we explained. Great control from the half guard, great transitions from the back, great defense from the back for Pena, great defense from half guard, going for that Kimura, kind of stalling out a little bit to prevent any more damage. And she didn't really get a whole lot of damage in that first round. And really looking at the transition in the second round, Tano Toshi to back take and how she controlled the fight. And obviously, Pena had a better pace. She was able to breathe more through her nose. She stayed calm. She stayed relaxed. She stayed poised. And she was able to not only advance the position, but really win. If the round hadn't ended, right, or let's say the fight hadn't ended and the round ended, she probably would have won that round just on jiu-jitsu and just on octagon control is what they call it. So this is not to discredit Pena from winning. I think she did an amazing job using her jiu-jitsu. It was awesome to see her underdog story. And again, I think really Nunes it's not that she didn't know, I just think she got tired. And, you know, there's that famous quote about the man in the arena. When somebody is fighting and competing, we can all sit back from our couch and say what they should do. And this is not what I'm doing here. I'm clearly just breaking down the fight, letting you know about the beautiful jiu-jitsu that happened, clearly some options that are available, and really pointing out to the obvious that, you know, fighter fatigue stepped in, and that created what I call grappler anxiety. When they're really, really worried, they tap early, they're done. And I think she even said that in the interview, that she was just checked out of that fight. She wasn't herself, and you can clearly see that. Whether they do a rematch or not, it's really going to be up to them. But it's great to see a lot of these fundamentals in MMA. You're starting to see it more and more. I think people are really understanding how important jiu-jitsu is, and it's great to see it, especially at this fight. I think this was one of the biggest fights, not only of the year, but of the decade. And to see women's MMA evolve so much and seeing it with jiu-jitsu is even more awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what part of the fight you like the most. Tell me what questions you have about positions from the fight or maybe from other fights. We'd love to answer them. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're looking for more content, stay tuned, like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, please keep training.